Hey, good morning, everybody. Hope every one of you had an awesome weekend, Thanksgiving and everything after that, and got to spend time with your friends and family and everything. Now, today's video, I don't want it to come across negative because that's not the goal, but rather, so the topic that I want to discuss is the 5 biggest mistakes that I've made in my life. Some of them are kind of, no big deal type things, maybe to some of you. Some of them are like, wow, that was painful, you know what I mean? But, so I just thought I would share a little bit of those, or, those 5 things that let's say I kind of regret. So in no particular order, the first one is I really, really wish I had stayed in the military through retirement. So served 20 years and had gotten pretty much a paycheck for the rest of my life. I would have retired in 2011. And here we are 14 and a half years later. And I feel like I still have quite a bit left in the tank, but it's kind of funny when you look back on it. I've always made the joke to other people. So when you're young, you have all the time in the world, but you have no wisdom. But yet, as you get older, you gain the wisdom, but now you don't have any of the time that you had when you were younger. So anyway, not staying in the military through retirement. I also mentioned previously I had been in the Navy. I suppose if I had it to do over again, I probably would have gone the Air Force route. Anyway, so that's just number one. The second biggest regret. So I attended a smaller little business college in Des Moines, and pretty much a mistake, especially incurring the student loans. That was definitely foolish. And I know there's a big, there's a lot of people out there right now, elsewhere on the internet, on YouTube, Facebook, whatever. And they are absolutely regretting having taken on student loans. And I could not agree more, because the college education that I received, I didn't even end up getting a degree out of it. You know what I mean? It's just like, so I spent 2 years, and somehow my student debt is like more than most people's 4-year university. I don't get it. Anyway, it was stupid. It was foolish. Never should have done it. Absolutely 100. And then if I had stayed in the military, I probably could have gone to college for free in any case. All right, 2 out of the way, 3 more to go. Not saving enough for retirement or rainy days when I was younger. So, again, it goes back to, you don't have the wisdom, but you got all the time in the world. Well, and it's just like, you never think about setting aside money for when you're too old to work, or when you want to retire, or to cover those emergency expenses. You hear these stories in the news media, like only 1 out of 4 Americans or something only have like $1,000 in the bank account to cover an emergency. Things like that. It's just, now, having said that, I'm in a much better position than I was even probably 5 years ago, or definitely 10 and 20 years ago. But the simple fact remains, if I had started even at age 20, I would have almost 3.5 decades worth of investments in whatever form that may have been, precious metals, or even real estate, things of that nature. Definitely would have been even better position now than I am if I had started earlier. And I think you'll find most experts agree that even if you stop investing after like 10 years, but if you started at age 20, you'll still have more money than the person who started investing at age 40 and went till age 60, things like that. So that was definitely a mistake on my part. No one to blame but me on that one. Kind of related to that, so this will be the fourth one, is periods in the past. So this would be mistake number 4, is kind of spending, dare I say, recklessly. I'm sure we're all probably guilty of it to some extent. Some of us are worse than others, but I definitely spent money on things that I shouldn't have. Just trying to keep up with the Joneses, right? Just silliness and nonsense, chasing shiny objects, things of that nature. So yeah, and again, those two are kind of related, not saving enough, spending recklessly. But now the last one, the fifth one, again, it's sad, but yet, humbling to admit, but getting married was definitely a big mistake. I should not have done it. I think, at least speaking only for myself, nobody else, the freedom that you give up by getting married, now some couples can absolutely make it work, and in fact, when they get married, their 1 + 1 becomes 3 instead of just merely 2, and that's great. I think it's fantastic, and I wish that's what I had experienced. But in my case, it's, perhaps the nagging, complaining, this is never enough, that, it's endless. And it gets tiresome after a while. Now, like I said, that one it's both painful and sad to admit, because I'm not just speaking about myself. I'm also speaking about another human being. And that's not necessarily fun. So anyway, just a rehash. I should have stayed in for retirement in the military. I should not have gone to college and incurred all that student loan debt. I should have saved more for retirement and rainy days. I should have spent less on frivolous things, and I should not have gotten married. Those are probably the 5 biggest mistakes of my life. Now, why do I tell you these things? I tell you not to get you depressed, because that is not the goal. However, if you get anything out of that and you kind of feel the same way, consider that an affirmation that maybe, making one choice A, is better for you than choice B, for example, right? So again, I'm not trying to be, oh, woe is me, this is sad, it's depressing, I'm a negative Nancy. I'm just trying to take ownership of my foibles, my mistakes, sharing what I've learned, and hopefully others can maybe say, you know what, I kind of vibe with that, and I think I understand where he's coming from. So, the positive aspect of this is that we as humans will always make mistakes. And so what you can learn from your mistakes and try to prevent making similar ones going forward, that is kind of the goal of this, is to be introspective, to think, to plan your future so that it's prosperous. So anyway, as humbling as this video is to make and painful as it is to admit that I've made mistakes, I will make mistakes. Anyway, I just share that with you. Hopefully it's actually entertaining for you, truthfully. Then you can say, well, look, my life isn't so bad. He's got it worse. Maybe, I don't know, who knows. But having said that, it is Monday. As you can see out my window, we've got some snow. We got blasted pretty good over this weekend. And even my windows are starting to fog up now. But anyway, just thought I'd leave you at that. I got a couple shorts videos coming out today. Keep an eye out for those. If you got anything out of this video, please like, please comment. I love comments. Please subscribe if you would be so generous. And with that, I will see you soon. Thank you. Everybody have a great day. Okay, bye-bye.